Right, this is just going to be a rant from your old friend Simon Miller here. Sometimes I get sent this stuff on Twitter, X, Simon316. I'm like, I just got to scream into the abyss. So today, I've decided to scream into a camera. Now, when I say I don't care about the casual fan, I don't mean it as literally as it sounds. Of course I care about it. If you're a human being and an individual walking on this earth, I have good feelings towards you and I want to be successful. But I tell you what, I'm absolutely done. I'm done with this crazy, mad argument of people watching a show, be it WWE or AEW or Ring of Honor or New Japan or Impact, and saying, well, they shouldn't have done that because it won't appeal to the casual fan. This is when I tie it back into the title. Why do I care about the casual fan? This is why it doesn't equate to me, right? And this is why it doesn't add up. If I'm sitting there watching a Dynamite, watching a Raw, watching a SmackDown, and they do an angle that I like, who in their right mind, because I don't actually think these people think these things, they're just saying it, would go, well, I massively enjoyed that, but what about Pete that lives down the road? I'm very worried about Pete. I know Pete only watches professional wrestling here and there, and if Pete sees this, he may not like it. Why you care what Pete thinks in that moment? Maybe Pete would like it. Maybe Pete wouldn't like it. I said this on my podcast of the day. You can download that right now. Simon is Pro Wrestling Show. It's basically a longer form version of these videos. I have a bunch of casual friends who watch professional wrestling, right? That's what they are. I'm the massive nerd, and they kind of sit on the peripheral of sports entertainment. Do you know the things that have gotten them to tune into wrestling recently? The Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page match, because they could not believe that one wrestler drank another man's blood. That's a different video for a different day. And CM Punk coming back to WWE, because once again, they couldn't believe it. Now, when you take someone like CM Punk, I would argue he's a pretty hardcore wrestling fans wrestler, in the sense to really understand him, you have to get knee deep into his exit from WWE, everything that happened with AEW, the press conference, blah, blah, boring. We've talked about it all year. Now, they know all about this, and they haven't watched 1 minute of any of that stuff, and they know because they're seeing it on social media, and they're hearing it from me, or they're asking questions, and they're just absorbing it that way. So when they hear, oh my gosh, what? The guy that walked out of WWE in 2014 and did the podcast and do the lawsuit is going back to that company, I need to be a part of this moment. And I'm sorry, if we take what the definition of a casual fan is, they don't know about wrestlers suing companies in lawsuits. They just don't. And that's because I actually think these things are bigger than they give them credit for. Now look, I understand that CM Punk is not on the level of a Brad Pitt, but if Brad Pitt sued Paramount, we'd all know about it because it would make worldwide news. If you are a casual wrestling fan and you're just sort of putting your toe in and you're taking your toe out again, you're still probably interested in headlines and you're probably still interested in the news. So when you hear about all of this stuff about CM Punk, you are aware of it. I also just don't understand what a casual wrestling fan segment is. Like, I consider myself quite a hardcore fan. To be honest, I hate those terms, but we'll use the ones that people are familiar with. I watch every single show there is. I watch multiple hours a week, and my job is professional wrestling, and I go out there and I'm a professional wrestler, right? You can say I'm a crap one, that's good. You can say I'm crap at what I do, but the whole point is I do it anyway. And not even I could tell you what I really want to get out of any kind of a show, because I can watch Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson and be like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Then I can go watch Tozawa doing a stupid dance on Raw, and I'll laugh, and I think to myself, I'm having a good time. Then Danhausen does something silly, and he makes me chuckle. But then all of a sudden, I'm watching Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win a tag team match at the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm overcome with joy. I don't think I'd be able to sit down and kind of draw you a diagram of what I expect from professional wrestling, or what I want, because what I want on a Monday is going to be different from a Tuesday, from a Wednesday, and a Thursday, and a Friday. This is absolutely what Craig David was singing about. So all of a sudden, you take this grand idea and you decide you understand what a casual fan wants. Well, one, you don't actually know unless you are the casual fan. But then again, even if you are that casual fan, your tastes are probably going to change because you're an adapting human being. But also, two, I do not understand, I'm repeating myself now, why that would be your major concern, unless you just want to kick up a stink on the internet. That's it. Unless you want to go, well, we shouldn't have done this major Texas death match because it's going to put off the casual fans. Maybe a casual fan loves that. Maybe the casual fan we're talking about is really, really into grotesque stuff, and the reason they don't watch predetermined fighting is because it doesn't go too far in that direction. They still count as a casual wrestling fan. They're a bit flubbed up, but they're allowed to be flubbed up. They are a unique individual and you must respect it. So just gotta stop. We just got to stop saying it. Of course, you need a barrel of different things in order to try and attract different people to watch your product. That makes all the sense in the world. If you just have, really long match, can't even talk today, the people that like the sports entertainment side of wrestling aren't going to try and tune in. But again, if you just have promo segments, skip backstage, etc., the people that actually want to watch wrestling, well, they're going to feel left out too. So what you do is, if you have a 3-hour show or a 2-hour show, you try to structure it and you try and bookend it. So in 10 minutes, I'm going to give someone this. Then at 25 minutes, they're going to get that. Then we're going to have this guy and that guy in a tag team. We'll do a women's match. We'll do a championship match. Then we'll make sure there's a 3-way with the men. Whatever the hell it may be. But there is no way to actually know who you are appealing to, because 9 times out of 10, the person sitting down won't know that until they've actually gone through it. Because I don't think, unless we're talking about really abhorrent things, that if you are well into a Dynamite or whatever, that you don't all of a sudden turn off after one show. It's like a long process, right? It's a long process. So after maybe 6, 7, 8 weeks, you're like, man, this is taking up a lot of my time. It's not really what I want from all of this. So now I'm going to move on to other things. Maybe in a few weeks after that, all of a sudden they do start doing what you want to do again, and therefore you tune back in. Can someone find me a casual fan, please? Could someone please find me a casual fan and sit me down with them so I can have a little bit of a chatty chat with them? Because I'd love to know what they were thinking about it. Why are we talking on their behalf? I never see a casual fan come out and say, well, I didn't want to watch that because it wasn't casual enough for me. I feel like, but you watched it. Otherwise, how would you know to comment on it in the first place? It's just baffling to me, as you probably see. Now, nobody needs to get this irate about anything, and I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit hyperbole on my end, and I'm just having some fun with it, but it happens all the time, and people say it to me, especially when I say I like something. You get the retort of, well, what about this guy? What about that guy? And I kind of stare off into the distance thinking, well, I don't have to worry about them. This is my life, and I have a certain amount of entertainment dollars that I get to put into the machine. So as long as what comes out at the end of it is me feeling pretty good about life, then I've won. And if someone else doesn't like it, good for them. And if someone else does like it, good for them as well. I don't sit down and watch Cheers. I don't know what, that's not topical at all, but we'll go with it. I don't sit down and watch Cheers and by the end of it go, should I make sure my girlfriend likes this too? No. Liz is allowed to do whatever the flub Liz wants to do. So I don't know why I chose today to sit down and shout about this. And I really would like other people's opinions. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you leave me a comment below. Maybe you are a casual fan and maybe I'm completely off with this. But as somebody that knows a lot of these so-called people, it's a little bit like, I don't know, yin and yang. Some days they like one thing and sometimes they do want to watch and sometimes they don't want to watch. I just don't think it's that important. I just don't think it's something that needs to be referenced in a video. So I got egg on my face because I just went and did it. What a bald buffoon. Now, of course, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding. Show the videos are going live. There's a video on the screen. It's going to be about professional wrestling. Give it a click. I'd massively appreciate it, and YouTube loves that too. Otherwise, if you are into your fitness, you can go to GorillaMind.com/Simon. Just go and get 10% off. Again, I use these. They're really, really good, especially their pre-workout. You can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Simon316. I'm on all social media at Simon316, where you can come and call me a bald idiot. I get it. Come watch my weird videos on TikTok at Simon J. Miller. Follow me on Cameo, or get a Cameo at Simon Miller. Otherwise, I have merchandise at Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics, and I think I've done Plowing My Wares. Ultimately, just throw in a bunch of love and likes for this video because then YouTube looks fondly upon it. But I genuinely like your opinion as well. Like I really, really, really would. Maybe I'm off base with this one, but even if I am, I'm still going to keep living my life this way. I watch wrestling for me, and if there's a byproduct of that where I can chat about it with someone else who feels the same, then we're all having a great time. And if not, I just go have a shower. I'll go to bed, I'll sleep, and I'll get up and I'll do it again tomorrow. I don't know what that means. Bye.